Hey guys, JD from Best MMA Picks here, and I've got my good friend here, MMA Savant, on the line here doing a Google Hangout, and we're getting ready to break down this card for you guys. UFC 196 in Las Vegas, Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor. It's actually a title fight that they switched out due to RDA. Rafael dos Anjos dropping out of the fight due to a foot injury or ankle injury. And so I got MMA Savant. He agreed to come on and help break down the card this time around. And how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Right on. So what we're going to do here, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to break down the card, just the main card. I'm going to post another video later this week for the prelims, a separate video. So we're going to focus just on the 5 main card fights. We'll break it down from the bottom up, and then we'll break down the main event, and give our analysis, the who and the how for each fighter, and or for each fight, excuse me. And then at the end we're going to do something special. We're going to go. It's going to be called Go With Our Gut, and we're going to give our gut instinct picks as well. So kind of something a little different. But a lot of times your gut's right, 70% of the time on test statistically. So, we're going to tell you what our gut tells us, and then what our mind tells us. So let's get this screen share going. You ready to go?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
So I'm going to share my screen here and get this show on the road. All right, so here we are. We've got our UFC website, and starting off on the main card, we've got Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko. Why don't you go ahead and introduce them for us?
All right, so we have Amanda Nunes, the Lioness, is taking on Valentina Shevchenko. This is her sophomore fight in the UFC. She came in and she fought Sarah Kaufman. She ended up beating her by split decision. She looked fantastic in it. She is from Kyrgyzstan, but she fights out of Lima, Peru. Now she's primarily a striker. She's taking on Amanda Nunes out of Salvador Bahia, Brazil. She's with MMA Masters. Amanda Nunes looked fantastic in her last outing against Sarah McMahon, the Olympian. So with that being said, I'm leaning towards Nunes just based on higher caliber of fighters and more cage time. I think that if I'm to make a prediction right now, Amanda Nunes beats Shevchenko by a dominant decision, or probably finishes her sometime third round.
So a couple things that I want to bring up about this fight that I noticed between Shevchenko and Nunes. I was watching some of the previous footage again from Amanda Nunes versus Kat Zingano, and one thing that I was really impressed with Nunes is she got Kat down on the ground and got her in trouble several times. Got her into a few submissions and almost finished her. But Kat, of course, is a very slick fighter as well, and she's got a lot of ground skills. But there's just that offensive wrestling of Amanda Nunes, I think, is going to be a huge factor here. I think that she's really strong as well. She's got that power in her hands, really good striking, really good Muay Thai. Both these gals are really good strikers. Shevchenko, she's a Muay Thai specialist. So it's going to be really interesting to see, I think if Nunes is able to connect flush with Shevchenko, we could see that finish, like you say. But I think the big difference maker here really is going to be the ground skills of Amanda Nunes. One thing that's really interesting, though, with these two fighters, it's going to be really, I think, a pretty evenly matched fight. The takedown defense of Shevchenko is at 75%. And she also has some really good offensive wrestling, too. We've seen her take people. That's another thing, that could play a role there is the offensive wrestling and the offensive side of the wrestling for Shevchenko. So it's really, I think that, like you said, Nunes is the stronger fighter or the stronger woman out of the two, a little bit more athletic, but Shevchenko's as athletic as anybody else, and this is going to be an interesting one. I think, it's going to be a pretty tight matchup. Maybe, I think the odds makers have this one set correctly. I give a slight advantage to Nunes, and she set it at negative 153, I think it was, and then Shevchenko is a positive 135. So pretty tight matchup here. But, yeah, like you said, I have to go with the finishing ability of Amanda Nunes. I think she's going to get the job done here. I'm going with Nunes via decision.
Okay. All right. Next on the card we have Corey Anderson, beast in 25-8, is taking on filthy Tom Lawlor. Tom Lawlor is a former 185er. He was on the show. Corey Anderson, I think he won the show. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. But Tom Lawlor said he's done with the weight cuts and everything. He's now at 205. And he's probably going to stay there. He's a wrestler out of New England. I think he's from Rhode Island. He's been on the circuit for a long time. He did lose to Chris Weidman, so there's no shame in that. He got submitted by him. These guys are coming in. Corey Anderson is ranked number 12, and he's only got one defeat, so this fight's very winnable for him. He does have a better record than Tom Lawlor. He's got a reach advantage over him in the legs. I mean, in the arms by about 5 inches. This fight is his to win, but I like the wrestling of Tom Lawlor. I think that because of the new rules enacted with the IV bans and everything, the jump up in weight class is the best move for him. I think the wrestling of Tom Lawlor gives Corey Anderson fits, and I think his submission game is too good. Corey Anderson's got decent submission. I believe he's about blue belt level in the grappling, if I'm correct on that one. Yeah, Corey Anderson is a blue belt. Tom Lawlor is a purple belt. So he does definitely have a little bit of advantage there with the, BJJ. Okay. So before I make my actual prediction here, anything you want to add? Yeah. Reviewing footage on Tom Lawlor, I really liked Lawlor against I liked Lawlor against Francis Carmon. Carmon is a very technical fighter, very technical striker, but he has a very strong takedown defense and very strong defensive wrestling. And Lawlor was able to get him down several times to the ground. Not a ton, but he was able to get him down there, and he actually put Carmon in trouble several times with, I think it was 2 or 3 guillotine attempts. He just didn't get deep enough on his on his guillotines, and he wasn't crunching, getting closer to the back, bringing his chest forward. He didn't put enough pressure on his guillotines to finish Carmon. I think that if he had, he would have finished that fight. So I really like the submission skills of Tom Lawlor. I think he has a great guillotine. I think he's also got really heavy hands too, and he can give guys problems with his grittiness. He's got good cardio. He went all 3 rounds with Carmon, and they were, I think he got Carmon kind of tired there. And I like his kind of dirty boxing, brawling style of just kind of getting guys up against the cage. I think this one could give Corey Anderson some problems. Tom Lawlor was a really big middleweight. I don't know what he's going to look like at light heavyweight, so it's kind of, Anderson might be a little bit bigger. I haven't looked at any photos of him, at his new weight. But I think he's going to be a pretty big guy. I think he'll be able to give Corey Anderson problems, like you say. And I like the upset here with Tom Lawlor. Even though he doesn't have, the shiniest record, I do like him here for an upset. I think that he could be kind of like the parlay buster of the card, So I think that Tom Lawlor is going to get this one done, probably by a decision or a submission. I'm going to go with submission in the second round. All right, I'm going to have to agree with you there on Tom Lawlor getting it done. I think he just outworks him with that wrestling, mentality. I want to say kudos to you for knowing how to properly finish a guillotine. That's very impressive. And I want to go ahead and agree with you on that one with the Tom Lawlor gets it done. I'm gonna say TKO after grinding on him and wearing him out late in the fight.
Yeah, one thing I do want to add with this fight, Corey Anderson does have some pretty good cardio. Okay, he's a decision fighter. He likes to grind guys out to decision, but mainly, he's that volume striking. He's got that 5.37 significant strikes per minute. That's almost double that of Tom Lawlor. So what Tom Lawlor needs to do is, Corey Anderson's going to try to keep his distance from Tom, and I think that Tom, if he can get him up against the cage and make it a dirty fight, I think it's going to go his way. Corey Anderson has a lot of times gotten his way as far as dictating where the fight goes. I really think Tom Lawlor has some, pretty strong takedowns. It's hard for me to gauge how he's going to be, though, at light heavyweight. He might look just absolutely impressive, and he might look like complete shit. It's hard to say. But I do like Tom Lawlor for an upset pick here. But I think if it stays on the feet, though, and he can't get him down to the ground, he's going to get picked apart. So I do give a boxing advantage to Corey Anderson. Corey Anderson doesn't finish a whole lot of guys with his hands. I think Tom Lawlor probably has a little bit more finishing ability with his hands, but I do like, Tom Lawlor. I like that he has heavy hands, and I like that he likes to make it a dirty fight. So yeah, that's what I have to add about that. But Corey Anderson, you can't count him out with his boxing. He circles the cage, he keeps guys at distance, he picks guys apart. So that's another way for Corey Anderson to kind of have an advantage and win this fight. But, like I said, I think, wherever the fight goes, if it goes to the ground, I'm going with Lawlor. If it stays on the feet, I'm going with Anderson. But I like Tom Lawlor here. I like the odds on him. I don't know what the odds are set at, actually, but I think he's an underdog, I would imagine. And let's see here. Lawlor, yeah, he's almost a 2-1, a little bit over 2-1 underdog. So you're getting really good odds there with Lawlor. But yeah, the most likely thing to happen here is Anderson picking him apart on the feet. But depending on where the fight goes, Anderson could win this one too. But I like Lawlor. That's all I got.
I agree with that one.
Next fight.
Okay, next up we have number 13 ranked Gian Villante. Gian Villante is, of course, a stablemate of Chris Weidman, the former champion at 185. He's a well-rounded guy. He's talented, and he's a blue-collar type, work-a-day fighter. I'm not going to call him a jobber because he's not a jobber. He's probably equally rounded in all aspects of mixed martial arts. And he is got a record of 14-6, and his last fight, it was a win against Anthony Feroce. I remember it happened pretty quick. Sorry?
Knocked him out first round.
That's right. Oh, okay, I see it now. And then before that, it was a loss to Tom Lawlor. So he's fought good level guy, decent guys and everything. Now he's taking on Swedish Ilir Latifi, who's a now out of American Top Team. Ilir Latifi came into the UFC on short notice to fight Gegard Mousasi whenever his teammate Alexander Gustafsson got injured, and he's still in the UFC, so he's looked good. He's got a lot of wins, and he just put away Sean O'Connell not more than probably 2 months ago. And did it within a minute or so of the first round.
Yeah, his hands have looked really good lately.
Yeah. So before I make my pick, anything you want to add, JD?
I really like the wrestling of Latifi. He's got that world-class wrestling. I think he's like a Swedish wrestling champ, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he is.
He's got a really high level, really high caliber wrestling, if not almost Olympic quality. So he's kind of the wrestling guy in Sweden. And I like his hands. He's got really heavy hands. He's super athletic, freakishly athletic. Villante, he has some really nasty body kicks and leg kicks. Tends to break down guys with those kicks and tire them out, disrupt their movement. I don't know that Latifi's going to let him do that. I think Latifi's just too strong, and he can kind of dictate where the fight goes with his wrestling. And I see Latifi getting this one done by more than likely a TKO. think the chin of Villante also kind of a question mark there. It's got a little bit of mileage on him. Not a ton, but definitely has some mileage. Been hit, been rocked a few times. So yeah, I think Latifi's a little bit more. He's got a younger chin, a little bit more fresh. I'm going with Latifi here to win by TKO, late second round.
Interesting note here. John Villante has an 89.47 takedown defense against a high-level wrestler and championship level grappler. So it's interesting to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah, I think if it stays on the feet, even though Latifi's still got a shot there with those hands.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. He is the shorter man. He looks to be the bigger man in actual, how thick he is and everything. But he is the shorter man by quite a bit, and he has a slight, well, not slight, but a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Does Ilir Latifi? But I think he's coming into his own right now. He's hit his stride, and I say the streak continues. I also have Ilir Latifi get it done.
Yeah. One interesting thing that I'd like to note about this is John Villante actually beat Corey Anderson, and he lost to Tom Lawlor. Tom Lawlor beat John Villante, who beat Corey Anderson. So, something to note there about Lawlor. He's taken on some tough guys, and he's taken on a guy and beaten a guy that beat Anderson. So,
small MMA world.
Another reason why that Lawlor might be a good underdog pick.
That's true.
So, yeah, that's about all I have for that. I do like John Villante. I'm curious how those leg kicks, or how his leg and body kicks how much of a role they're gonna play here as far as distance. If he's gonna be able to keep Latifi on the outside with, that range. He's gonna have some distance advantages there with the legs. And he does throw a lot more than Latifi does. Latifi kind of lines up, and then he lands the bombs, whereas Villante kind of likes to pepper people with the kicks, and his hands. So should be interesting. I definitely think that there'll be a finish, though.
Yeah.
Next fight.
Okay, here we have the newly crowned champion, Holm. This is her first fight since dethroning and usurping the position of Ronda Rousey. It's a big fight. She's taken on the rightful contender with Miesha Tate as number 2. This fight, it's not being talked about as much as it should be. It's a bigger fight than people are giving it credit for. Holm was an amazing athlete, as is Miesha Tate. Of course, it does take second fiddle to Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz, because that's what sold most tickets. But people aren't talking about this fight as much as they should be. Anyway, Holm is a 17-time women's boxing champion. She came in here. She's undefeated in her mixed martial arts career. She's a superstar athlete, and frankly, she's a class act. She's taken on Miesha Tate out of Extreme Couture, who is well-rounded as they get. She's got great grappling. She's won many competitions in grappling and everything. She's very competitive. She's been fighting for a long time. The only people to really beat Miesha are the highest of the high levels. Of course, Ronda. Kat Zingano, I believe she finished her. I believe Kat finished Miesha, if I'm correct in that one.
I'm not sure about that. I thought that it was a decision fight, and I thought
it was a decision. Okay.
I think that Tate got her by decision, if I remember correctly. No, that was Jessica. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What was the fight with?
Yeah, she did lose to Kat via TKO third round.
Yeah, she only loses to high level people.
Yeah.
Which might,
She's won just about every other fight against everybody else who wasn't title contender.
Yeah, yeah. So she's a very talented, female fighter in the bantamweight division. Uh, I'm going to go with Holly Holm on this one because she's out of Jackson Wink, out of Albuquerque. She does everything correctly. She does what is probably the most important thing to do as a fighter, and that's listen to your coaches because they can see things that you cannot see in there. And she does that time and time again. I think she makes no mistakes. While I give Miesha Tate the grappling edge, I don't think that Holly allows it to go that far to get tested. So I am picking Holly Holm by probably decision, but look for a late TKO stoppage, maybe in the fourth, early in the fifth. What say you, JD?
Yeah, a couple things I want to add to that. Yeah, Tate is actually from my backyard, Washington State. I grew up in the Yakima area, so she's actually trained out of Yakima MMA, which is pretty interesting.
All right.
Her husband or boyfriend, I don't know if they're married now or not, but I don't keep up on all that shit. But Brian Caraway is actually from Goldendale, which is south of where I used to live, about 30 miles. And so yeah, she's got a well-rounded mixed martial arts background. I think she wrestled out of Tacoma, one of the high schools in Tacoma. She actually went to state championships in high school. And then she went to Central Washington University, which is also in my backyard. My ex-wife went to school there, so it's kind of funny. I'm really glad to see her being successful in MMA. She's one of the most successful women's fighters, in my opinion, other than Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm. I really like Miesha Tate as an underdog here. I'm just going to play the devil's advocate, but I don't think, like you say, I don't think Tate is going to be able to get her to the ground. I don't think Tate's going to be able to get Holly Holm to the ground, but if she is able to get her to the ground, I definitely see the fight going, her way. I see her having her way on the ground. Not to say that Holm hasn't been well prepared, training with the likes of John Jones and, Carlos Condit and a lot of those Jackson's Wink fighters. I think she'll be well prepared for anything in any situation, in any scenario. But I definitely give an edge to Tate on the ground there with her top control, heavy top control. Holly Holm has 100% takedown defense, so I don't expect the fight to go to the ground or even get there. I just see her circling the cage, much like she did with Ronda, and peppering her with her kickboxing skills. Tate is a almost 3-1 underdog, so you're getting triple your money back if she wins the fight. I think Tate's going to learn, though, from Rousey's mistakes that she made, running into all those punches and kicks. And I think Tate's going to fight a little bit smarter fight than that. I think that it's going to last longer than a round. I do see it going to decision. I see Holm getting the decision, though, unanimously. I think she's just going to be too athletic, too fast, very smart. Both fighters are very high fight IQ, but I see Holly Holm having better skills on the feet and that takedown defense. If she's able to manage to stuff all those takedowns, I definitely see it going Holm's way. But you can't count out a wrestler in a fight. You can't count out a grappler in a fight. I always take a grappler over a striker, typically with betting, because if they're able to push them up against the cage, there's always a chance that they can grind out a split decision that way. But I don't think Holm's going to allow that. I think her movement, she's too good. She's really quick on the feet. I don't think it's going to happen. So, yeah, like you said, my pick, I'm going with Holly Holm here by decision. So I agree with you there.
All right.
And we got the main event now to cover.
Okay, so the main event on this fight for UFC 196 is Conor McGregor is jumping up from 145 on short notice, or he's not short notice, but he's taking on a short notice replacement in Nathan Diaz at 170 pounds, which is a 25-pound weight difference, which is unprecedented, and it's It's a dangerous gamble. You have Conor McGregor out of SBG Ireland under John Kavanagh. He is nothing short of spectacular in his UFC career, and everything he has ever said has come true, has come to fruition. He's a dangerous fighter. He's got a lot of power. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. There's a rumor that he just got his black belt. I don't know how true that is or not, so I'm not going to say that. But as the last was I've looked, he's still a brown belt. And he's got Gunnar Nelson to train with and John Kavanagh, who's a longtime Renzo Gracie guy. And he's taken on a very dangerous Nathan Diaz, who is taller, got a better reach, more MMA experience, a much higher level ground game. It's not night and day. Actually, it might be night and day. People don't understand how good Nathan Diaz is on the ground. His Cesar Gracie black belt holds more weight than a lot of other people's black belts does. So this is not an easy fight. Nathan Diaz does not wrestle pretty much. He has been with Valery Ignatov, the Sambo specialist, for many, many years, so he can get the fight to the ground. He likes that Osotogari hip toss, or that underhook toss that he does a lot. So before I present my chart here, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to my co-host here and let him say a few words.
Yeah, Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz. Conor, bold fighter. I just admire the guy. He talks the talk and he walks the walk. Knocks guys out when he says he's going to. I think there's only one fight where his prediction of how the fight was going to go down didn't come true. And I believe, I forget who that was against, but it was a decision fight.
Yeah, Max Holloway.
What was that?
Max Holloway.
Yeah, Max Holloway definitely gave him a run for his money. And so interesting note there with Max Holloway. Really good footwork, really, really good technical striking and boxing, karate, a little bit of karate background and some mostly boxing. Good footwork. He was able to, stay out of harm's way from that left. He did get clipped a few times, but ultimately survived the fight against Conor. Nathan Diaz takes a lot more damage. Okay, he absorbs quite a bit, but Conor does as well. So Conor's not afraid to get hit, and he's got really good defense though. He's got a 64.24% defense against strikes versus Diaz 56.7. Both these guys are excellent boxers. Can't count out the boxing in Nate Diaz. The guy's got good hands. He doesn't have powerful hands. He's more of a volume. He peppers people with those volume strikes, and it wears guys the hell down. I mean, people forget that at one point, Nate Diaz fought against Donald Cerrone, and gave him problems. Nathan Diaz beat Donald Cerrone, if I remember correctly.
Oh, dominantly.
What was that?
Nathan Diaz beat Donald Cerrone dominantly.
Dominantly.
Yes,
People
sir.
forget how good Nate Diaz is with his boxing, when things are going his way, that is. He's been traditionally weak against grapplers and wrestlers, but he has, like you say, that black belt under Cesar Gracie, and he's a dangerous guy on the ground, very, very dangerous. Conor McGregor has good jiu-jitsu, but it's nothing like Nate Diaz. I don't think Conor's going to want this one to go to the ground, to be honest. I really like Nathan Diaz here. I like the volume of both of these guys, but Conor McGregor, it might be to his detriment to stand and trade with Nathan Diaz, just because of the fact that if he can't finish Nate Diaz, which Nate Diaz I don't think has ever been finished by anybody with hands. He's gotten finished with, by Thompson with the head kick. But who wouldn't be finished getting hit flush, with a head kick? Other than that, Nathan Diaz he can take a lot of damage. And his cardio, people keep questioning Nathan Diaz's cardio. He's a triathlete. As a lot of times off when he's not fighting, he does triathlons. His mother used to take him and his brother Nick to the gym and to the swimming pool and would just swim the hell out of him. So the guy's got he's got a gas tank. He can go 5 rounds easily, both Nick and Nate. And a lot of times I'm sure it's when they're smoking weed, which is kind of interesting. But they both have phenomenal cardio. So I don't think that's going to be an issue here, especially if he's coming up in weight and he's not having to cut that weight. So we could see a really interesting situation here. But, I'm just going to go with my prediction here. I think Conor is going to get the job done. I don't think he's going to get it done as quickly as people think. I think that the UFC, the fans want to see a fight, and I think they're going to get a fight here. I think Nathan Diaz is going to bring it, and I think he's going to last at least 3 rounds in this fight, and if not, go to decision. Maybe one of Conor's few decision fights. It wouldn't surprise me if Conor finishes him, but I don't think he's going to get it done with the hands. The left, he says no one can stand the left, but if he lands flush, yeah, he could possibly finish him with the left. But Nathan Diaz has been hit by hard, big opponents before, so he can. The guy can take a punch. So I think it's going to go a little longer than what people think, and I don't know. Conor might be wrong on his prediction for this one to end early. So, but I am going with Conor here to get the job done. I think he'll get it done probably by TKO, maybe late in the 3rd or 4th round. But I know that it'll be better for publicity and for promotional reasons for the fight to go on at least 2 rounds. Not saying that the fight's going to be fixed, but, you never know.
No.
Weird shit's been happening lately, especially with our London card. So you had a couple things you wanted to talk about here.
Yeah, I have a few things I want to say, and I want to present this little diagram I made up to kind of give a visual for the people out there.
Go
So,
for it.
okay. All right, so I have this visual here. Sorry, it's I don't know if you can see it or not. I'm on the small screen on my computer. So I have Conor and Nathan Diaz. And I have it ranked. I have it listed by different, factors or something. I have power, cardio, MMA boxing, striking diversity, grappling, submissions, experience, reach, and preparedness. And then I have for Conor to win and for Nate to win.
Can I interrupt you just for a second there?
Yes, sir.
Can you bring the board forward a little bit?
Forward, okay.
Yeah.
How's that looking?
A little bit more. There we go.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's all my categories and everything. I do give the power advantage to Conor for 1 punch. That's pretty obvious. But see, what people don't realize, and fans of MMA and especially fans of boxing will know this if they study it long enough, the more you cut weight for a fight, the more you drain fluid from your body. So your brain is actually encased in a liquid membrane or whatever, and that's part of the weight that you lose. It's part of the water weight that you lose. I don't think that Nathan Diaz will be as susceptible to the knockout as people think he will be because he's not cutting so much water weight. Boxing specialists will elaborate on that for me, I assume, because I only know the very basics of that concept. And I watched his fight with Rory McDonald, who in my opinion is a big, scary welterweight, and he didn't finish Nathan Diaz. And Nathan Diaz fought him at 170.
That was actually a split decision win, I believe.
What's that?
I think that was a split decision win for Rory, if I remember correctly.
No, it was unanimous, but yeah, it was a decision win. I believe. So I give the cardio to Nate, even though he's a short notice fighter. He just has that runner's cardio where it's consistent and it's all day and it's at a high level and he keeps that pace up. And he has been training for a triathlon on his own time. That's what I hear. The MMA boxing I give to Nate Diaz due to longevity and more time and more rounds in the gym. The striking diversity, I do give to Conor McGregor. He's got flashier kicks. I don't think leg kicks are an issue because he's a foot kicker as opposed to a shin kicker like a Muay Thai guy. And the reason why the Diaz brothers don't check kicks is they mentioned it on Chael Sonnen's podcast. If they check a kick, they come out of their stance and they drop their hands, which leaves them open and susceptible to the knockout punch. So they'd rather just take the kick, fall to the ground, and get back up, or just get their leg beat up. Grappling, far advantage to Nathan Diaz. Submissions, also far advantage to Nathan Diaz. Experience, Nate Diaz. The reach is not negligible. It's 74 to 76, which seems like it's nothing. But the way that Nate Diaz turns over his shoulders, you might as well call it like 78. But both men do that. So we'll see how that plays out. But preparedness is definitely Conor McGregor. He's had a full fight camp. Nate Diaz had 11 days notice. Take out a few days for media and traveling and everything. He's basically got about a week notice to fight. For Nathan Diaz to pull off this as an upset would be nothing short of miraculous. It's a guy who's arguably on his way to become the GOAT, the greatest of all time, taking on a guy with 1 week to train for him. So, and I have for Conor to win, he has to mix it up, switch his stances, keep throwing them kicks. He needs to land that left and keep throwing them kicks to the body. The teep to the breadbasket, get Nathan sucking wind, get him hurt, and throw in your feints and fakes. Don't throw everything that you intend to. Mix it up, get Nate flinching, dropping his hands, and reacting to shots so you can time him. For Nathan to win, I have him keep it. And both men are, of course, southpaws. This is very interesting. For Nathan to win, throw your left straight. Keep doubling up on your jabs. Stay in your stance. Get the clinch. Get the underhook to the hip toss. Get this fight to the ground. I know Nathan wants to prove a point by outboxing him, but we want to see, guys want people to win. So instead of proving a point in there, get the job done. Keep up your pace and your high volume striking. And that's Nathan Diaz's keys to victory. So with that being said, now I'm from NorCal. I've trained with Nate Diaz. People don't realize how big he is. I'm 6'1.5", and I'm 235 pounds. But when I'm wearing the gi and I'm standing next to Nathan Diaz, when he's not in fighting shape, we're about the same exact size. He's a big dude. I mean, for a 155er. Anyway, because he only has a week to train, and Conor's got the power, I'm going to say Conor gets the job done. I hate saying those words, but if this fight goes to the ground, the whole momentum shifts. Nathan Diaz, he's got wins over Ryan Hall, Matt Darcy. I can't think of who else right now. I don't want to speculate, but high-level wins. He's been submitted once by Hermes Franco back when he was a blue belt and Hermes was a black belt a decade ago, if not longer. If this fight goes to the ground, the whole tide changes. The tide turns, and it's Nathan Diaz's fight to win. But getting there will be a problem. Conor fights long, he fights out of range, and he closes the distance very well. But because of the short training camp, or the veritable lack of a training camp, I got to be smart here. You got to separate the head and the heart. I got to go Conor McGregor getting it done. And my prediction for this fight is Conor opens up with a kick to the body, and this UFC 196 breaches the top 4 best-selling UFC pay-per-views of all time. But anyway, Conor McGregor getting it done, but look for Nathan Diaz to upset him.
Yeah, I really like this one. I really like this fight from a fan's perspective. I think a lot of people are really excited for that. And there's a lot of fans out there that are going for Diaz. I'd like to see Diaz win. It'd be really interesting, but trying to put my biases aside there, and I'm going with what I believe is going to happen, and it's Conor. I don't know that the UFC it would be good for the UFC for Conor to lose. But if he is going to lose, it wouldn't be bad for him to lose against, a catchweight bout. He's not going to be stripped of a title at all.
Yeah, and I do give the cardio advantage to Nathan anyway, and I also give it to Conor. In order to cut the weight he walks around about 180, maybe 185. He's short. He's not short. He's average height. He's 5'9", but he's a big, thick guy. In order to cut the weight, you have to do the cardio to make the weight. If you haven't done the cardio, it'll show in the fight. So it's almost like carrying a 25-pound backpack with you. It's a lot of ways to look at it, and a lot of different angles you can see for it, or to look at it from. And it's interesting to see where the cardio of Conor McGregor goes in this fight at 170 pounds. That's a 25-pound weight difference.
There's a lot of question marks there. And with power, too, and the chins of both guys. We might see a bloodbath. We might see both guys get hit really hard and get pretty banged up.
Yeah. This fight is – and I do believe that this is a bigger and a better fight than the original. Probably not bigger in the sense of history, but it's the one the fans – it's one the fans want.
I'd agree with you there. I think everybody's excited for this fight, almost even more so than, the Dos Anjos fight. I mean, I was excited for that fight, but Nathan Diaz is a badass. He's fun to watch. He's good at promoting fights. He doesn't care. He just says whatever shit's on his mind, whether it affects UFC or not. And, I have a lot of respect for him for that, in that sense. It'd be interesting to see. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun fight. Next Saturday, UFC 196 on pay-per-view. We're all going to watch it, Now we're going to do a little thing before we close out the show where we go through the rest of the card, the prelims and everything, and we have 2 seconds to say who's going to win the fight just on gut instinct. And then JD will do a video later on, if he chooses to, on the breakdowns and the analysis. But we're going to try a little experiment here called gut instinct.
All right. So here's my gut pick for Amanda Nunes.
JD?
What was that?
Yeah. I was thinking we could do the entire card up until the main card.
Oh, the entire card.
Yeah, just like who you think will win of the fighters.
From the prelims up?
Huh?
You want to go from prelims up or just the main card?
Prelims up until we get to the main card.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So first fight, Julian Erosa, Juicy J versus Teruto Ishihara. I'm going with Julian Erosa to get the job done by a TKO.
I have Julian Erosa by decision. Next fight.
Next fight, my gut. I'd have to go with the Canadian Jason Sago to get the job done by submission.
I have Justin Salas by decision.
Next fight, Diego Sanchez, Jim Miller. I like both these fighters, but my gut tells me on this one that Diego Sanchez is going to actually get a victory against Jim Miller. It's going to be based off of beating him up on the feet. Diego Sanchez to win this one by decision.
I agree.
Next fight, Darren Elkins versus Chaz Skelly. Both these guys are good grapplers. My gut, I'm going with Darren Elkins. I think he's going to pull a minor upset here against Chaz Skelly and give him his second loss.
I also agree.
Gut pick here, Vitor Miranda versus Marcelo Guimaraes. My gut tells me here I'm going with Vitor Miranda to get the job done by TKO.
I'm going with Vitor Miranda to get the job done by submission.
All right. Next fight, Eric Silva versus Nordine Taleb. Both these guys are, pretty well-rounded mixed martial artists. My gut tells me here I'm going with Eric Silva to get the job done by submission.
I'm going with Eric Silva by stoppage due to strikes, but it won't be easy.
I think this will be a good matchup, possibly fight of the night candidate.
Me too.
Next fight, and the main fight of the prelims, Fox Sports 1 prelims, Brandon Thatch versus C.R. Bahadurzada, or Sayar Bahadurzada. I always have trouble with that one.
Yeah.
Boy, I could see this one being an upset. My gut, I'm going with Bahadurzada to defeat Thatch.
Sorry.
I could see something funny happening here, like stoppage due to like an eye poke or like something weird happening here. And I'm going with Bahadurzada to get this one done by a stoppage of some sort. I'm not sure what. Probably
I'm sticking with my pick. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sticking with my pick from the last time. I'm saying Brandon Thatch by getting it done. Strikes up against the fence. Brandon Thatch by stoppage.
Yeah, that's my gut pick. I think that Brandon Thatch will get the job done, though. But, I could see something really weird happening here. This could be one of those weird, scenarios that we've been seeing a lot of lately.
Well, those are our picks for the UFC 196. Half our picks were gut feelings, and half our picks were analysis and well thought out, back and forth breakdowns.
Alrighty. Thanks for being on the show, MMA Savant. Make sure that you go and check out Savant's channel. It's on YouTube, MMA Savant, all one word. Make sure that you add us to our Twitter for our live plays and future videos. Subscribe to us. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button below. We also post to Instagram as well, Best MMA Picks Instagram / Best MMA Picks. Keep your eyes out for the prelims video that we'll have posted here a little bit later this week, just before the fight. And thank you for tuning in tonight. And let's go get him.
Bye, guys.
All right. Have a good night.